introduce. We're just going to keep going from one guest to the next. Let me introduce our next guest, who is Alison Moore, the SVP of Digital Platforms at HBO, who's going to come out and talk to us about HBO Go. Alison.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Join me.
Yes.
So before we get into the demo of HBO Go, give us a little bit of background. This is not something that just kind of popped up on the radar a couple of months ago. This is actually an initiative that's been worked on for quite some time. So give us a little bit of background on HBO Go.
So we started this kind of initiative a few years back with an HBO on broadband trial that happened in Wisconsin. Really just trying to understand from the consumer expectations what they wanted to see in a product, really through a PC and a client interface. And so from that, we had a lot of learnings and kind of really realized that what we needed to migrate to was a streaming product through a browser-based service. Last year, beginning of last year, we launched HBOGo.com. A few affiliates on board, kind of got some learning through that, understood what the consumer expectations were going to be in terms of the model, the user interface, et cetera. And really from the entire year, the beginning of last year till just recently, we've been signing on new partners, working on user experiences, trying to understand what this needs to be in multiple different platforms. All culminated with the first bang out May 2nd with our launch of our mobile product on Apple iPad, iPhones, and Android smartphones.
Great.
And while that's exciting and we're really, it's great, it's only the beginning, you know?
Yeah. And so you launched officially May 2nd.
That's right.
Here we are 5-6 weeks later. Give us the update. How many downloads of the app so far?
It's over 2.6 million downloads of the app so far.
So 2.6 million.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about the pent-up interest in this type of product from your subscribers?
You know, I think that the consumer expectation is that they need to be able to get HBO anywhere and everywhere that they expect it. And so mobile devices have become ubiquitous. They're, you know, this device, it's a mobile phone, and we need to be there as a brand and as a product offering that opportunity, that content to the consumer. And, you know, from my perspective, I was shocked and, you know, obviously delighted to see that mobile has really just increased usage across the board. Yep. So, you know, what you can start to extrapolate from that, of course, is that when we get on other devices, other platforms, that the just ubiquity of the presence for the brand, and again, increasing value for the subscriber, which is, you know, this is an authenticated product. Yep. So it is you're a linear subscriber, and then you get this as part of your subscription. That's just a value and a reason to engage more, and we're actually mapping to consumer behavior instead of expecting consumers to come to us. Yeah. And that's imperative for a brand to be doing that in the media space.
Why don't I step aside for a second and let you show everybody HBO Go. Yep. I'll stand over here.
Okay. Okay, so what we'll start with, obviously, is the front door. One of the things that we was kind of a design challenge for us is as we migrated from a PC environment to an app environment on a mobile space, and particularly on the iPad, how do we bring that sort of energy and that brand look and feel and that entry point and bring that into a mobile device? And so we worked really hard with the Apple guys to kind of figure out the right kind of tool sets to employ in the app and make sure that the application itself felt dynamic and right for this device. So you can see that the application responds in kind to gestural movement. On the front page, we tried to make it to where as you turn the card, you have an action step that you can take at any point along the way, getting consumers to whatever they want to do quickly. So if you want to watch, you want to get more information, you have an easy way to get in to do that right from the front page. This is meant to kind of be an exploratory discovery quilt. And so if I want to, you know, zoom it out, I want to pinch it, move it up and down, it just is meant to kind of engage consumers a little bit farther.
Is that kind of floating quilt idea, if you will, that feels different than other apps I've seen. Is that considered by you guys one of your kind of key differentiators of the app? Or?
You know, we strive across every kind of platform, and any time that you're punting into, again, what we call the HBO experience, you know, reminding consumers that this is a different sort of experience with HBO. And so we felt like the front door needed to feel like, take advantage of the tools and the sort of what this device offers and the connected point that a consumer has. You know, this is such a personal experience for consumers. Yeah. It's so much different than sitting away 10 feet from the screen and feeling a distance. So we really wanted to make sure that the front door took advantage of that. You know, part of the other thing we did is use some sort of level of consistency across the UI and navigation. So at the bottom you'll see here movies, series, comedies, sports. This is the same kind of categorization that we use on Go.com, we use it on HBO On Demand, and we use it, of course, on HBO.com too. So this keeps things, the whole experience consistent for consumers, and then they can kind of search and discover how they want to see it. So this is in the movies, this theatricals area, this is the A to Z movies list. We also curate this. We have an editorial team that picks what's featured on HBO Go in the movie section and presents it here. You can also search by genres, action, comedy, drama, etc. The lion's share of our model, really, and our programming offering is through our original series. Earlier in the year, we actually switched from a 650 title environment to a 1,400 hour environment, and that has been an incredible completion of what consumers had expected from this product. And we launched that actually with our mobile launch.
Yep.
So now you can find basically every episode of every season of every well-loved HBO show on this device, and they will stay there in perpetuity. And then you also can find, the stuff that's hot on the network now. Mm-hmm. So in True Blood, for example, we're waiting for season 4 to start, June 26th. But you can also go in and do your catch-up, season 2, season 3, and all the episodes below here, these are thumbnails of the episodes. Mm-hmm. So if you come in here to episode 12, for example, and click more information, a couple things going on this page. This is the episode level page, and this is where we're reminding consumers what there is around this episode 12 specifically. So on the bottom here, this is related content. This is short form content that's related to either the show or the episode. And to the right, this is all the cast and crew, producer, directors, etc. One thing I want to point out here is that because this is a TV Everywhere product, it's an authenticated product, we're constantly reminding consumers, again, back to the value of the 3-play. And in our world, that is the HBO linear subscription, on demand, and HBO Go. And in this example here, the app pulls up the next available time that episode 12 of True Blood is playing. So it's on HBO 2 East, Saturday, June 25th. And on demand, this is the end date and the start date for that same episode on demand, which has a limited kind of viewing. Mm-hmm. We also did integration with the social network. So from here, you can post to your Facebook page. You can, if you're inclined, tweet to say how much you're enjoying, watching this episode. So that's kind of the landscape of everything going on here. And then finally, I think there's an ability to add to your watch list. So when you add to your watch list, it acts as like a bookmark queue. And you add to your watch list, and whether you're watching it on the iPad, you're going to watch it on your PC or your iPhone, it picks up exactly where you left off from watching that. So if I started watching an episode and cut it off, I can pick it up again, and it's a great tool for the consumer.
And how long after an episode is on air does it show up on HBO?
The same time.
The exact same time.
That's right, yeah.
So the consumer really can choose whether they want to watch on TV, they want to watch on the iPad, they want to watch somewhere else.
Or have a second viewing experience, or exactly. Again, trying to kind of give them the lion's share of choice that maps to what they want, how they want to behave.
Right.
We can't expect that everyone's only going to want to see it on the linear network first.
Right. So you've got essentially 10% of HBO subscribers that have already downloaded the app.
Right.
Give or take.
Yeah, exactly.
Domestic, give or take.
Right.
Where to from here? I mean, do you see it as 50% kind of penetration a year from now? Or, how do you guys think about how popular this could be?
It's less, it's about penetration, but it's also about engagement. Yep. And so what we're really trying to make sure is, again, reinforcing the value of the linear subscription. If it is, what we're launching, we launched mobile now, and then we're looking in third quarter for connected devices, connected TVs. Yep. We announced a while back a deal with Samsung, so we'll be on Samsung, and looking at as the biz dev team is kind of closing those relationships, we're trying to figure out what that product experience is going to be. Yep. And on a 10-foot application UI, that's a very different experience with a 5-key remote versus what you have here, which is a very tactile experience. So we're working on that. Yep. Game consoles for fourth quarter, which brings a whole other user experience kind of challenge in a good way, and so that's on the horizon from a platform perspective. And then we're also trying to think of, and again, in the vein of drumming up more kind of user engagement and experience, what can we do around content? So content stunts. For Game of Thrones, we offered episode 7 in Go a week early, right. And that came for phenomenal success. Phenomenal success. So, but it was a great way to drive registration and engagement. We're doing the same thing for True Blood. Episode 2 will appear in Go at the same time, right after episode 1 plays. And then we'll look to do that Boardwalk Empire, etc. And then finally, we are developing a roadmap of features and for new features to roll out across all platforms. Social, discovery, inter-app integration, so that some of these kind of applications can play off of each other and, again, reinforce the value of the whole.
Yeah.
So
Great.
it's going to be a busy remainder of the year.
No doubt.
And next year.
Do you see other networks now that you've had success here? You see other networks potentially emulating this type of model, or is it kind of too early to tell? Or
I think it's too early to tell. This works for HBO, and in HBO's way, I mean, by having an ability for a consumer to come into an HBO experience, it does reinforce the value of our brand. Every time we reinforce the value of our brand, that consumer has a chance to choose every month and choose it and pay for HBO.
Yep.
If they've had a great experience on Go, if they were able to pull something up on a smartphone, if they were on a connected device and being able to have a great user experience, that means it's a higher propensity for them to pay us, and therefore our affiliates every month, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, and that's of course the core proposition of TV everywhere.
That's right. That's exactly right.
The idea of reinforcing the value proposition of the monthly subscription.
That's right. That's right. And it's particularly when you're a subscription product, you know, because the consumer can choose. So we have to work for the dollar.
Great. So let me ask you the same question I just asked earlier. If we're still in the kind of early innings of TV everywhere, where might we be a year from now or 2 years from now? How do you guys see this whole TV everywhere landscape unfolding?
You know, I think it's about making smart choices, you know, in terms of getting out there and gaining ubiquity across the board. Certainly there have been a lot of digital players that have gotten there fairly quickly, and we need to get there quickly too.
Yep.
And then once you have some level of access completion, and that's never done, but I think we don't need to be on every device, but we need to be on all relevant devices for our consumer set. Then it's really about sort of pinpointing and staying abreast of consumer experience. You know, what is it that people want from us, and what kind of experiences do we want to bring? Is there value in the social experience? Is there a value in a discovery tool and being able to kind of make linkages for content, you know, e-commerce, merchandise? And I think that's the biggest shift that needs to happen over the next year, is making sure that we are paying attention to the consumer mindset, every beat of it, you know, and not just making assumptions based on what we know from television, because it's not just television.
Great.
Oh, it's HBO. Yeah, I didn't even plan that. That
okay,
just happened anyway.
Alison Moore from HBO, thank you for
Thank you.
stopping by the park today.
Thanks a lot.
Okay,
thanks.